Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bad Science Sunday, where we take a comedic approach to discrediting bad science on the internet. Um, Black Lives Matter, and also Women's Lives Matter. We've got two very special guests helping us open up Women's Month. But first,
Young women, please understand that if you dress immodestly, you are magnifying this problem by becoming pornography.
She said, Dad, that can't be entirely true because a man may see a beautiful woman walking down the street and become aroused. I responded, but did she do anything on purpose to arouse him? If she was dressed immodestly, then she crossed over that line.
No career approaches in importance of wife, cooking meals, washing dishes, making beds.
Now, sisters, you need to be careful not to assume a role that is not yours.
With his pointing finger, he beckoned me as I feebly tried to repent for not responding the first time. He simply said, "Thank you for being obedient."
The young women of the church who associate and date our young priesthood bearers to become real guardians of their morality. You can. You must.
You will understand your roles and your responsibilities, and thus will see no need to lobby for rights.
If you're having boy problems, I feel bad for you, hun. I got 99 problems, but a dick ain't one. Girl, your man ain't shit, yeah, you don't need one. You a badass bitch, no, we can't get none. If you're having boy problems, I feel bad for you, hun. I got 99 problems, but a dick ain't one. You can love yourself better than he can. All my single girls, throw up your hands. If you're having boy problems, I feel bad for you, hun. I got 99 problems, but a dick ain't one.
oh my God, ladies, we've come so fucking far.
Yes. And yet that kind of shit is still out there.
Still out
my
there.
God.
Not as old as you'd hope. Maybe even yesterday. God, where's my? I don't have enough vodka in this wine.
Cheers, Maya. Dr. T, Patty.
Cheers.
That was fun.
Um,
Was that one first singer, Gillette? Was that her?
Oh, I forget the name of
She
it.
sang Short Dick Man back in the 90s?
No, I don't think so. But
No.
I do know that song's all over TikTok this month.
Oh, okay. So it's got to be a new song then. Okay. It just sounded like Gillette. Very fun.
But happy Women's Month.
Yay!
Hey, happy Women's Month to you.
Cheers.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I was on the Apostate Sisters channel yesterday. Well, say their channel. We did a interview or something yesterday.
Yeah.
An interview and it was
We
like
got to know each other.
Totally me bitching about America and shit. So that's gonna come out one day.
Oh, I think you need to keep the background, Maya. People are liking it.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Cool. I love it. I was like, we've got to be background twins today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have put mine up.
Thanks for having us on, Maya. This is exciting.
Yeah, so you guys have to do we do about 2 hours and we start at 9:30 Eastern. So a lot of our newbies fall asleep before we get to the end. So I usually and then we pick up a lot of people by the end. So it's usually a newish crew throughout. So I do want for the people who are just now getting here kind of to know who you are, what you do, where they can find you.
Sure. Patty, take it away.
Sure. So Nancy and I are actual sisters, and we grew up in the Worldwide Church of God, which is a doomsday cult of sorts. It flourished from like the 1930s through the mid 90s or so. And now its babies, all the offshoots of our cult, exist in the world. And there's still lots of people trapped in those ideologies. So we get ourselves on our channel and we talk about what we went through. We talk about having gone through evangelicalism and deconstructing and the stuff that you still deal with after all of that. Because the effects of a cult and those environments are lasting. So we do interviews of other atheist content creators. We have our own podcast where we just talk about our experiences and our healing. And we also do a live show where we react to the propaganda of our cult every other Friday night on Packet TV.
Hey.
Yeah, no, I've been getting to the point where I'm looking forward to your Friday night streams because they are really fun. You know what I forgot? I wanted to like download or at least clip a piece of you doing the kazoo.
I saw that you took that clip. I saw what you named that clip too, Maya. I'm on to you.
What did I name it?
Patty's sex toy.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you call it? I did because I was
Fair enough.
I like to send clips to my friend. I only make clips to send to my friends. And so at that point in time, I was trying to make Dr. Kip blush, but also come into the chat.
Did it work? Is he here?
It did. He's probably here now. But it did make him come to your live chat that night. So
well, thank you. Remember
mission was accomplished.
So funny.
Dr. Tapioca Weasel is gifting reparations.
Yay, reparations.
We got 5 more cult members, and those went to Stephen Walsh, Nate W., Gretchen Beach, Pippa, Bethany. Yeah, and Bethany. So that was 5. Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome. I really love gifting myself cultists.
He does. He loves his cultists. And I love the cultists too. They come back every week. And Dr. Kip says, I am always blushing either in anger or embarrassment.
Sometimes secondhand embarrassment. Maya introduced him to the people of Walmart.
Walmart.com.
Yeah.
That.
I mean, he had never even heard of the people of Walmart. And I'm like, oh, this is wrong.
I feel when did that website come about? It's been around for a while. In fact,
I knew about it in my 20s. So
okay.
At least 25 years.
Yeah, I was like the 90s.
Yeah, good stuff. I bet it's gotten even better over the years.
Sorry.
Yeah,
like
no, he was not. Yeah, which probably makes me a bitch, but he was not ready. I don't know. Apparently, they have Walmarts in Canada, but they are not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't do it like we do it.
We're a special country.
Yeah, we're the short yellow bus country. So, what do you guys know about NDEs?
Not a lot. I read a few stories of NDEs a couple years ago. I was like a little too deep into that gateway experience thing that everyone was talking about. It was like a CIA thing.
Do you know anything about that? I never actually, I heard some stuff. I never actually looked into it. The gateway experience.
I mean, I read it. Yeah, so it's like a thing that we know about was actually studied by the CIA because it came out of a Freedom of Information Act kind of thing. Real or not, I don't know. All the CIA documents are out there, and then on YouTube you can find all of the tapes that they had where you package up some thoughts or your life experiences or something and you lock it away. And then the whole thing is trying to get you to do remote viewing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I remember hearing about the CIA. They did a lot of stuff trying to compete with the Russians, who were really big into the occult as well. Because if the Russians were going to
cover this.
What? Oh, I
the
could do that.
Experience.
I could do that. Because oh my god, it's so crazy. Well, I mean, the CIA's investigations into the occult is kind of crazy,
right?
Yeah,
what? Why are you like this?
It gave me pause when I figured that out because I was like, well, wait, but if they thought it was worth studying.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. What's happening here is that when you put people into when you blast them with like particular sounds and then ask them to meditate, they can have like interesting experiences. This is not new. Like transcendental experiences as the result of meditation are, one, they're not magical. They can be profound and like real, I guess, but like not in this way. Like you're not going to be able to do remote viewing. That doesn't happen. It's not possible.
Well,
And
they needed to make sure that that was true,
yes,
though.
okay, yeah, because they're the CIA, and like if it is possible, and the Soviets find it first, then
Right. Yeah. And that was the thing. So the Soviets really believed
Soviets.
in a lot. We did an episode in that
Y-
where they just really believed that there were a pure race of people inside of the earth. And they were trying every manner of ways to communicate with them. And the US heard that they were doing this. And if they had psychics that could accurately spy on the US also wanted psychics that could do that back. So things happened for decades before they were finally put to bed as debunked. So yeah.
Well, do we know
Go
that?
team.
Are there things the CIA is still like checking into?
Probably.
Would we know?
Yeah, who knows? Probably.
Oh, wait. We do know. This is about this secret FBI document that reveals exactly what happens when you die.
No BS.
Right. It's good to know
no
it's not
bullshit.
BS.
Yeah, no. See,
yeah.
like
It's a good thing they told us that, because we totally would have thought it was bullshit.
Sorry, where's this from?
It's from the FBI.
That's an excellent question. Where this is from is this channel is Law of Insights.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to get a lot of insights from the Law of Insights.
Outstanding.
And they have just shy of 250. That's 250,000 subscribers. They have
You must know what they're talking
249,000.
about. Yeah, correct.
And this video from 3 days ago has 3,000 views. So
Oh gosh.
I knew I
Yeah.
should have invested in pseudoscience.
this is my
lucrative.
point. This is why Titan and I really need to get our book finished and published,
Oh, God.
because we're just going full full whack job shill territory. It's gonna be great.
For $2, Daedalus Media says the cult of magnet grows.
Yeah.
Maya, did you want me to start at the point that you sent it to me, or at like the actual earlier point? I totally should have asked you this earlier. I'm very professional.
Man, and now I forget what's all in between there. I feel like there's a reason I gave it to you at this point.
Fair enough. Let's go.
Only has always destroyed. Only transformed.
They're talking about.
Do you want to
Science
maybe
has
do the
always told
beginning
us that-
so everybody knows what we're talking about?
Sure.
All right. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
So for those of you who can't read it, can you go back just a second?
Chopra said that?
Yep. Yeah.
It
So
must be
this is how the
true.
video starts.
Consciousness is eternal,
Okay.
and it is the ultimate reality. Death is merely a transition from one state of consciousness to another. Deepak Chopra.
Oh God, I hate Deepak Chopra.
Everything you've been told about death is a lie.
Everything.
The end isn't really the end, but something else entirely. Something they don't want you to know.
Heaven?
For decades.
But a lot of people want us to think it is heaven, so that can't be it. It has to be something they don't want us to know.
Good point. Good point.
Okay, so it can't be nothing, because that's what the atheists want you to know, and it can't be something because that's what other people want you to know. So it has to be a quantum superposition of nothing and I'm on this guy's page. I think I can do this.
We can do this.
I'm over here like, this is why we drink. This is why we drink.
The idea of death has been painted as an irreversible void, a moment where everything you are simply vanishes into nothingness. But recently declassified FBI documents reveal something far more shocking.
Yeah, they're recently declassified. We're not going to ever know what those are, but you should know that they're definitely real. And declassified. That happened.
And they definitely speak definitively on life after death.
Yeah, because that's the thing.
And that's what I mean. That's the FBI's specialty, right? So
Hidden within these files are findings that challenge everything we
let me tell you, if you could find them, they couldn't have been that hidden. Okay, you're just not that clever. I'm sorry.
assume about the afterlife. These aren't the theories of mystics or wishful thinkers. These are government-backed studies, suppressed research, and first-hand accounts that suggest consciousness doesn't die with the body.
We actually have a
All
lot of
right.
first-hand accounts of NDEs. I mean, I don't
That's
know.
true.
I don't know what the FBI could be hanging on to that's like so much more riveting than the horrors of stories we already have. But yeah, what else?
The stuff they caused.
Well, and don't we know a lot about how consciousness changes when we fuck with the brain parts? And that's like our debunking of these things anyway, at least the first step.
We know a lot, I feel like, and Maya is the expert here, but we know a lot in the sense that
We know
it
that.
elucidates how much we don't know, but
Right.
there's interconnected
Exactly.
stuff.
Like, it's hard to be an expert on this. Like we know
it's
we have data that things happen. But outside of it, I mean, we can't be there, right? So it's like saying, I remember after my grandmother died, I had a dream that she visited me and it was like super real. And at the time, I was still a believer and I just knew that I knew that I knew that my grandmother came back to comfort me in my last moments. How do you debunk that? It's like, well, it was just a dream. It was like all your other dreams. Like, no. Like this is like seriously, oh God, like 23, 24 years later. And I still remember this dream like it was yesterday. Yeah, it was, I don't remember the dream I had yesterday. I know I did dream. I remember dreaming that I was moving because I just went through a move. And so for whatever reason, I still have trauma. So I vaguely remember that it was about moving. But like the dream where my grandmother visited me 25 years ago, like that, that like still I remember the details of that. So I mean, I'm not saying it did happen. I'm just saying we can have experiences that stick out. And how do you then explain to somebody, no, it how do you demonstrate that it didn't happen? And one, that's not what science is aiming to do, which is the biggest issue with NDEs is people say, no, I definitely went to heaven. And then they're trying to use science to say, yes, this definitely happened. And then there's scientists who are non-believers who are like, no, it's just your brain doing a thing. And this is where we are with the science today, because
this
science
isn't something that you can build an experiment and study. Okay,
right.
any version of that experiment is going to be unethical. Right?
That's a good
Well,
point too.
yeah. I mean, you can talk to people about their experiences, and we all know how reliable science finds firsthand accounts.
I mean,
Certainly even in psychology, there's all kinds of things we're doing not to trick people into answering in ways that support the researcher's bias, or in ways that trigger the responder's own bias. You know,
Right.
it's an art form.
yeah.
Asking people questions as a researcher is an art form. It's an evolving art form, and we're still learning. Every field of psychology is still learning more and more about it. As we move along. or even not even that, like a peer review has to like when they're asking people how they identify, have to be very careful with, how they frame cultural questions, religious questions,
Mhm.
so on and so forth, because depending on how you word it, people, you know, things are going to be triggered. Or what was I think, was it Hemant Mehta was doing a thing on it not too long ago where he was talking about, one of the questions for the Australian census was, do you not identify with anything, or is your religion atheism? And he was like, what the fuck does this even
What?
mean? Yeah, yeah. So
Is your
people,
religion atheism?
yeah,
Oh.
is atheism your religion, or is none your religion? And he was like, why is this? What? Like, just ask people how they identify God. Um, and so yeah, I guess
Well,
they were
yeah.
getting.
I could see that actually in the U.S. military. So I was in the Army for 10 years, and
Mhm.
when you'd go to get your dog tags, the ID tags for the
Mhm.
military done, there's four things that they need from you: your
Mm,
full name, your
your
social, your
faith.
blood type, and your religion.
Yep.
And they do not give you the option of none, at least not in the
Wait,
unit I was in. You have to say no preference. Like that's it.
I
No
like it.
preference.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But doesn't that kind of sound like, oh, well, you might belong to religion, but you have no preference which one, Like you can
I
put
know what you mean. Like being able
Jedi
to
on your dog
identify as
tag.
known.
Huh?
Wait, can you put Jedi? Is
You
that one
can
of
put
like?
Jedi on there, but you can't
Is
put
it
none. Yeah.
do you have to do
That's
it like as a
awesome.
custom thing, or is it one of the like is it one of the options in multiple choice, or do you have to put it manually?
I mean, they have an SOP for it, This is what you just have to follow. You can literally
What's an
type in
SOP?
anything you want.
For a
Standard
standard
operating
operating
procedure in
procedure
the military.
for
Huh?
if
Oh.
they have a standard operating procedure if somebody dies and Jedi is on their dog tag. Is
Fuck
that what you're
yeah.
telling me?
But no preference instead of none. But
Okay,
I think you can put atheist though. You can put atheist, but you
Oh.
just can't put none. So
That's
I don't know why
interesting.
that was the standard. I just thought I'd mention.
So I know in the hospital, when I had my first kid, they asked if I had a religion, and I identified as Catholic because I
Mhm.
was just answering questions.
yeah.
But I didn't know that meant that nuns were going to be visiting me every day. So
Oh
I would have
no.
hit on them.
So then when I had my second child, I was like, nope, no religion. you know?
Keep
And
them
I'm sure
away.
that went into somebody's something, like how many atheists were, had babies this year, and I was in that number. But I'm just like, I don't need strangers like coming into my room while my hoo ha's all exposed, and like I just,
Nope.
you know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no. It's hard to get a scientific consensus on NDEs. From what I'm seeing, it really depends
Mhm.
on
Yeah.
if the researcher is religious or not, and what type of data well, depending on whether or not the researcher is religious or not, will kind of judges what type of research the researcher is talking about. So you'll have like there's like an actual NDE guru out of like Kentucky who's Christian, and so he studies the
I've never
account.
met a scientist who self-identifies as a guru, by the way. I just want to say that.
I he
So,
no, I'm not saying that's how he identifies. He is an oncologist um who's
Oh.
been doing work with NDEs for 25 years or something like that. And so he of course is going to be like super into the experiences. What are people saying? What are the similarities? Da 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 da. But then you have like people, and I'm like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's just like, okay, what are the brain scans saying? What can we, or I forget the name of the
Right.
I actually follow a neuroscientist that talks
Sam
about this from
Harris?
time to time.
Sam
And
Harris?
no, God, no, fuck that guy.
Okay.
Anyways, moving on. And he talks about, like what are the like the brain scans and like what can we glean from that? Um, I have my opinions, but like I'm obviously not an expert in NDEs, but I think I did find it fascinating that from my anecdotal experience and what I looked passively just reading psychology news, how things seem to be tweaked when I look into the researcher and they're like, oh yes, this is we're definitely gravitating towards proof that NDEs are true. They're always religious, whereas opposed to people who are just citing the data. When you look into it, like it's really hard to find any evidence that they practice a religion at all. So yes, but still no consensus among any group of researchers on what an NDE is, because as the good doctor just said, there's no science doesn't measure this. Like it's not a
Well, not yet.
not
Yeah, no,
yet.
this is the sort. It's so hard because all of NDEs always occur in exceptional sort of circumstances where approximately 0% of the priority of any of the healthcare professionals is on recording the data that would corroborate an NDE. You need to do the
Yeah.
things like have a
As it's
known
happening,
thing
yeah.
in another room that like with cameras and stuff to like observe all it's just not how that's not how medical care works. We're trying to
Right.
save these people's lives.
Yeah.
That's why it's an NDE and not just a D or a DE.
Ain't nobody talking about their DEs though, guys. I mean,
I'm a child. I'm a child.
You're in good company then, huh? We all are.
Did I miss the joke I just made?
You said DE.
She said D.
I mean, I said D, but okay. All right.
Patty's talking about D. For $2.22, My Unfinished Journey said, Hail Nero, Hail Maya, Hail Weasels, and the Apostate Sisters.
Yay.
Right on.
Why
I mean, something's happening in NDEs, right? Oh, sorry.
Scientists,
but okay.
Like
So we're gonna
electrons
say
are happening in a brain at least.
Yeah, things are happening in the brain.
Those damn electrons.
In 2023, there was a researcher. I mean, it was only 4 people that they had taken off of life support, and they were trying to see if there was like any kind of spike in brain activity. 2 of the 4 did find like spikes in brain activities that would that correlate to conscious memory. I'm going to try to find that and post it in the chat or something. Which is about on par. We have, I think last time I checked, it was like 40% of people who went into cardiac arrest were reporting NDEs. So to half, 2 of 4. I mean, that's probably on par with what you would expect of people who are saying that they're experiencing something. Like right before they died, there was this like just surge of brain activity in the part of the brain that correlates to conscious experience. They were taken off of life support, like just incapable of talking to us before they passed, and obviously after they passed, it was a futile endeavor. It's fascinating, and had they come back, they would have they most likely, if they could have come back and talked to us, would have reported something. I mean, we know that people who have NDEs are alive, and that they have dying brains, and that the brains are doing something. Is it actually like the part like of the brain that is connected to the higher realm and like reporting back to the body?
Well,
it depends on who you ask.
Isn't there a thing about electrons like there's like the electron clouds or something, and like electrons aren't always in their cloud. Like 5% of the time, there's like a non-zero chance that that electron is anywhere else in the universe. Like
Oh, Doc.
technically, yeah.
I mean, for sure, like all of the particles, electrons, protons, everything is behaving according, as far as we can tell, the laws of quantum mechanics, and they are, sort of delocalized. And yes, technically, there is a portion of each electron that is like way out in the middle of the universe, but like, it's not magic, right?
Right.
And
but what if those electrons are going and doing things? They're energy, right? They're like going and fucking around over here. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but they're not. They're
You can say
so
we have a
our
5 buck minimum over here.
so physics has a term for this, like a special technical term for when electrons decide to go and fuck around. It's called lab gremlins. Okay, lab gremlins come in and they fuck with your experiment and they put magnets where it's not supposed to be. It's terrible. And
is that why you're an anti-magnet?
But no, the actual probability, yeah. So, like, an electron's wave function is described by like a bell curve centered on a particular location. It's likely to be, if you detect where it is, it's going to be around here, and then that trails off exponentially. But it never technically hits zero. But like these numbers, you have to understand, you get 2 millimeters away, and it's already comfortably true that everybody in the entire universe would have to simultaneously be hit by lightning while being eaten by a shark 20 times in a row. And that is way more likely than measuring an electron a millimeter away, let alone 10 light years. It's just not, like, the numbers, these things are technically expand over all space, but they don't, though.
So if we were like all of one mind, we couldn't like send out our extra electrons to like do things that we want to have happen in the world. You're saying, are you gonna burst my bubble like that?
I mean, Deepak Chopra, I'm sure, would say yes.
Yeah, and that.
Oh, sad.
No, we can't. We can send good vibes, I guess, but
okay. I'll settle for that.
If you want to send an electron beam, you're gonna need to find a way to, accelerate an electron beam.
Okay. All right. Some sort of like capture device. Why do I feel like I'm annoying you? I don't.
No, you're absolutely not. I'm just like, now I want to like actually like take the time on stream to build like a particle accelerator. Maya, can we build a particle accelerator?
Can we? Aren't you the particle accelerator guru?
We're not gurus. That's not a word we use. Why are you like this?
Scientists would call themselves gurus.
Exactly, we don't. Patty and I are on the same page. Well,
make him happy.
You're giving up your scientist credentials, Maya.
Well, Titan's here. Say hi.
Hi, Titan Uranus.
Don't tell me what to do.
Hello.
Hi, Titan. Love you. We got to finish our book.
Body. Instead, it transitions.
I don't
Scientists,
know what transitions, I forgot.
intelligence agencies, and even military programs have explored the nature of human awareness, uncovering disturbing evidence that death is not what it seems. If that's true,
disturbing.
Why has this knowledge been buried?
Bro, it's on YouTube, so like, we're not doing a good job in the burying of the evidence.
What are they hiding? And more importantly, what happens the moment you take your last breath? Today, we break it all down.
Breaking it all down.
You think your brain starts to break down.
All right, so now we can jump to... I mean, they're going to go through the FBI's hidden files and... Yeah, no, we can just go to the part where you get to geek out. Right after we hit this $2 from my unfinished sock. Don't fall for a fake NDE. Like and share instead. That's solid advice, guys. That's solid
I
advice.
Oh,
I feel like that
I love
implies
it.
that liking and sharing will cause a real NDE. I mean, I hope not.
Science has always told us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only
Hey.
transformed.
That's like mostly, yeah, okay, I'll take
yeah,
it.
that's
Accurate? Yeah.
yeah.
They're,
Okay.
yeah.
This is one of the fundamental laws of physics. Yet for some reason, when it comes to human consciousness, mainstream science conveniently ignores this
second
principle.
law of thermodynamics.
No, that would
Oh.
actually be closer to the first law of thermodynamics.
First law? Okay,
Technically,
gotcha.
energy conservation, like bulk energy conservation, isn't technically one of the laws of thermodynamics, but the first law of thermodynamics is that the amount of like the change in the internal energy is equal to the amount of heat supplied plus the amount of work you do.
Right.
And that's conservation of energy. So, yeah.
All right.
If
We're onto a good
consciousness is
chat.
energy,
But
Consciousness is
allege,
energy. Wait,
yeah,
how do we? Well, that seems like a
alleging.
leap.
Exactly.
Well, is
because
it electrons moving around in our brain? Isn't that consciousness is energy?
That's
I don't know.
consciousness and the electrons moving doesn't mean that that's consciousness. Like the problem is consciousness isn't something that you can articulate with physical laws. The actual connection between all of these complex motions and the experience of being a conscious entity, it is like something to be me. It is like something to be you. It's not, as far as we can tell, in any sense, like something to be a rock. They don't experience things. And the connection there, I think, is what people mean when they talk about the mind-body problem.
yeah. Well, the consciousness can like die or go away before the body even dies, correct?
Yeah, but like the body dying is
as far as we can detect.
yeah, certainly. But
Because
the
again,
body dying always.
I'm not trying to be like
yeah.
There's no way to physically study what they're talking about.
Right. It's kind of like trying to figure out what the soul is. I hear people talk about the soul. So, like,
exactly.
And what religious people try to say is the soul is like your consciousness in some way.
They
opinions differ, I would imagine.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if you ask them, they would say they're different. But when you ask them, they conflate. So I am not convinced that the soul is different from consciousness. And when consciousness goes away,
I don't know what the soul is.
Right. Neither do they. So, but when consciousness goes away, they're saying, okay, the Stillman argument, they're saying it just goes away from the body. It goes away from our detection. It becomes supernatural. Science does not study the supernatural. So it's just, I mean, as far as science is concerned, no, everything goes away. That's, I mean, that is the scientific consensus. Now, whether it goes away and turns into something else that we can't detect,
right?
I don't.
We just don't have the right gizmos yet, right?
If in fact they exist.
I mean, did ultraviolet light exist before we had the gizmo to see it?
I mean, yeah, but there has to be something has to exist to measure it, and so we don't know that there is something to measure. We do know that it stops. There is a point at which we can no longer measure it. Does it continue in an unmeasurable sense? It's a God of the gaps argument at this point. Science has to say no at this time. We have no choice. It doesn't study the supernatural, and if we're going to say there's something supernatural, then we have to have something supernatural to point to before we can say it, obviously. Um, so they're going to challenge that with the God of the gaps, but again, no scientific consensus on this because science can't measure.
And
as far as science can measure, there's a stopping point.
Right.
to the extent that physicists discuss how like consciousness and quantum physics are related, it is entirely through the extent that quantum chemistry is relevant to like biophysical and biochemical processes. It is also like a thing that I want to emphasize. The because the vague notion that you know extended quantum systems, which everything technically is, are necessarily then like actually giving rise to quantifiable processes is those are all very very short range. There isn't this sort of broader persistent thing that seems to last beyond the death. It, all of our models end when the brain stops working and stuff. If there's any sort of continuing existing pattern of energy that represents the consciousness, we don't see it. We have no evidence for it right now,
No.
which
Right.
is a bummer.
Our body's dead. There's no reason to exist. I often describe it as like, well, I'm sure after I die, life will be like my life in 1920. Hey, I didn't fucking exist in 1920. So I didn't think anything of it. After I'm dead, I assume it's going to be something similar.
Yeah, we're
Right?
going to the same place that we were before we were born. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so there's, yeah, I mean, it's really, I don't know, unfortunate. And I think that there's a lot of people that are trying to use science to explain the supernatural. But then I don't know, like it.
I did find it super interesting that when I was in my woo phase,
Mhm.
I
Which
was
one?
like, it like kind of overlapped at my
Mhm.
like re-educate myself about history and science about the world
Mhm.
after leaving the
Yeah.
cult kind of thing. So it was like I was kind of looking at both at once and they were sort of separate in my head, but then I was looking at them and they're saying the same stuff. Like the woo stuff is
Yes.
definitely looking at the science to be like,
Yes.
Yeah.
use
That's
that.
yes.
So
Yes.
it was like a
Yes.
I talk about
complete
that
mind
all the
fuck.
time.
That is
Okay,
what
yeah.
that is like what Deepak Chopra like does and
Yeah.
embodies.
Mhm.
And it's like because I will talk seriously with a straight face because it's a real thing about like the universal wave function. That's an easy thing to like kind of twist into whatever you want.
Sure.
If
No, yeah,
right?
I remember just getting into quantum mechanics through what was it? This was like science by PBS SciShow.
Nova?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no, it was
Crash
PBS.
Course?
Crash Course. Crash Course.
Oh,
God.
yeah.
Yeah, I used to love those.
Yes.
But for like somebody who had no physics experience, it was a great introduction to quantum
Yeah,
mechanics.
they're pretty good.
But
Yeah.
like I said, when I came out of Catholicism, and I was like, there's got to be something like this isn't just nothing. Um, yeah, I went into I started studying with the shaman, and it like a lot of the stuff they were saying, it's like, hey, I think I've heard of this, and then yeah, you go to YouTube, and it's like, you know what? I was convinced that quantum mechanics was the bridge between science and religion. Um, Not so
I'm
much
convinced
anymore,
that I'm
but
ready to hear it proved. Like, if science really came and was like, "Y'all, we can explain this now," I'd be like, "Yeah!"
a
Just
lot
like
of people would love
lab
that.
grown meat. If they
A
did
lot
That'd
of
that,
be
I'd be like,
scientists would
"Yeah,
love that, but like
yeah."
yeah.
it,
But
I mean, if there's something, it's like I was saying to you guys yesterday, and I'm like, if there's something I think we have an obligation to humanity to find it,
Mm-hmm.
and to not just kind of blindly wave it away. But I don't think you embrace something that you don't have evidence for either.
Right.
Or shouldn't. Yeah. You know, it almost seems like we have just a language problem, you know, because
Yes.
the quantum stuff we can twist into whatever we want. The Bible we can twist into whatever we want to like
Mm-hmm.
satisfy our about not knowing,
We also
right?
kind of have a grifter problem.
Okay, that's true
Yeah.
too.
I feel like a useful perspective to take on that problem is, does this answer something concretely and specifically? Like, if for example quantum physics means that we're still connected and able to communicate with relatives who have died, then when and how can I contact this person and talk about this thing?
Mm.
That
And
would be great.
and
Yeah.
and
Can we just dial up the
can
founding fathers and see what they actually meant by the Second Amendment?
and
I
if
would
we
love
do
that.
that, and if we do that, how do we verify that? For example, you could verify that by having multiple people contact that same person under controlled conditions. It, and have independent conversations and then exchange information that they wouldn't know. Like, there's an experimental procedure that you could do to figure this out. The data does not exist. Those experiments, when they have been tried, have not, produced anything that mainstream science has found convincing. Now, as a mainstream scientist, I'm very biased, but we also, like, mainstream science, mainstream physics is what got you the computer.
Mm.
So
For $5, Tori Swansinger says, I had a day. Thank you guys for being the comedic relief I needed today.
Yay.
All right. Thank
it's
you for
like my
coming, Tori. We
Comedic
appreciate
relief.
you
I feel
being
we're
here.
pretty chill already. But
I'm
yeah,
the
thank
comedic
you.
relief. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Good
mean, although there haven't been
of
that
you.
many magnet jokes yet, so
Yes, yes,
The
yes.
night is young.
It is. Not even
All right. Let's see
an
how
hour.
physics proves near death experiences.
All right.
Laws of
Let's
physics.
see.
Yet for some reason, when it comes to human consciousness, mainstream science conveniently ignores this principle. If consciousness is energy, then what happens to it when the body dies? If our awareness is not just a
Tap,
byproduct.
does mainstream science say consciousness is energy?
no. It doesn't really say much about it other than to the extent to which it is correlated with, like, measurements of the brain and stuff. But other than that, I mean, consciousness is not a thing that I think is usefully reduced to energy.
Hmm.
The people that want to reduce it down to stuff, I guess would reduce it to graphs and, like, connected things. But I don't think that I think that there is essentially a category error in trying to cross that gap. And,
Hmm.
like, the hard problem of consciousness is
Yeah.
trying to like figure out how those two things are actually one category.
Right.
It's trying to solve a category error.
Right.
And,
Right.
like, I
Yeah.
don't even know how that happens. So.
No, it does yet. I think that is something that's like we're really trying to square. But yeah, it's like he's saying it. We know that there are electrical functions in the brain that, the same type of functions that allow me to raise my arm. Well, you can see it, raise my arm like this in my really real background.
Sweet
Or
background.
also helping, me think thoughts and get them out of my mouth to talk to you through a conscious experience. So yeah, it's taking energy to do all of these things, and you could definitely put a cap over my head and measure my brain waves. Um, but to make that leap to where, okay, now when I am no longer, what we consider to be alive, that would go somewhere else. Uh,
Yeah. Well, Geo Sam makes a good point here too. Just calling something energy is often meaningless.
True.
well, I mean, it's like Tab said, he's not explaining himself fully, but he is like getting everything down to their essential element where, yeah, this chair is energy and,
Mm-hmm.
I,
Ah, it's very
I mean,
complicated.
isn't when you look at like string theory stuff, this was my best attempt at trying to understand it before I was like, okay, I guess I've re-educated enough. I was thinking the way I read it, it was like that matter is like super tightly congealed energy.
The way that I would put it, sort of glibly, would be that matter is frozen energy. So yeah, congealed energy. I think that that's actually a fair way of describing it.
Okay.
It's there is an equivalence there, and you can take an amount of matter, mass, and you can be like, okay, if you convert this to energy, exactly how? Like, does it turn into photons? Generally, yes, it turns into photons. Generally,
Oh, yeah,
um,
sure.
then you can tell how much with E equals mc squared. So mass and energy are equivalent in at a fundamental level. Like the object in general relativity that expresses how space time bends in response to the distribution of mass is actually in response to the like stress energy tensor, which is like the thing that like actually it's more complicated than just mass and energy because physicists are always like, oh well, if we make it a little more complicated, it can describe a bigger class of stuff.
Oh, yeah, good point.
But at the same time, it does also like yes, and mass is frozen energy.
Okay.
I
Great
got off on a
job.
tangent.
So everything is energy then.
I mean,
Everything that things like mass are certainly energy. Space itself is that
Yeah.
energy.
Oh yeah.
Is the number two energy?
Right.
Is
There's
the
like
number
dark
two even
energy.
a thing in actual space? Dark energy. I think I'm
I
a
love this.
physicist, and I'm not
Free
100%
education.
sure
Keep
whether or
going.
not that counts as actual energy.
Yeah, we don't know what
But
it is.
yeah.
It's definitely something though.
My
Um,
question is, does it make more sense or less sense the more we talk about it?
Dark.
well, I mean, when I say everything, like mass, yeah, mass
Yeah.
is energy. But yeah, and then when we start talking about concepts, are morals energy? I mean, so
It,
yeah.
Hmm. Whoa.
is the force between two masses energy? It there's an energy field that it derives from, but is the force itself actually energy? Is velocity itself energy? Or is it a thing that is related to the energy of a thing? Is to say everything is energy is to remove all of the other useful ways of describing it. What if you wanted to say everything is motion? And then you're like, yeah, but motion is energy. Yeah, but like, but not all energy is motion.
Right?
Okay, like if you have a spring that's condensed and pressed, it's got a lot of energy, but it's not moving. So to be you don't want to be so to
It's
reduce
stored
it down
energy.
just into a few like terms unless you know how those things all sort of interact.
Right. And
Sure.
so herein lies, back to the point, the
Sorry.
issue with no, you're right. I just want to make sure we're not people are like, wow, they really got off track. But I mean, everything you're saying does kind of go back to the original question, is consciousness energy? It's like, I
Yeah,
mean, but I think his kind of premise here is that everything is energy. And since everything is energy, consciousness must be. And then he gets
yeah.
into the rest of the video, which we're founding on what could be a bad premise, which we can't really determine based on not being able to properly categorize consciousness. Um, But for $5, Kentucky Atheist says, pair character line on the side. I think there's pairs word that a different word, but raising his arm while saying, "How's it going?" Oh wait, is this? Oh wait, you know what? I don't think this is a
Super
what you
sticker.
call it,
That's a
but
super sticker.
is it a super sticker? Or is he
It's
doing one
gotta
of the
be
things
there.
again? All right.
Where he
So,
pretends to say a super sticker.
right.
Like, I don't know, it's possible.
I kind
But
of wish Maybe Mux would like determine like one from the other, like if it was like like I don't know, italics or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's super sticker, TK, thank you. And if it's not a super sticker, you're fucking epic. Thank you for making me laugh. So, okay, yeah, once I read a super sticker and I was just like, what is this saying? And then somebody's like, oh, that's a super sticker. So then following that, everybody started just writing out words as if they were super stickers to fuck with me. And I love that energy.
it's a
Thank
super
you,
Oh,
God.
there's a little bear.
I found it.
All right.
You see?
That's so funny.
Because he's a pedantic motherfucker. All right. Thanks, Tap. Moving on.
It's my one job.
Product of the brain, but a force of its own. Where does it go when the physical vessel shuts down? The answer may be
I don't know, probably Albuquerque.
more astonishing than you think. The FBI documents
Yeah. Damn it, Leo.
hint at something that quantum physicists have been speculating for years. Consciousness may not be a function of the brain, but rather an independent force that exists beyond space and time.
You said something about forces.
What's the
like,
they were going to tell us?
what, like, give me more details. Give me a way that we can actually verify what you're saying.
They're building up to it, aren't they? Aren't they?
No, they're not.
You would think that.
We're gonna be a little bit let down here if we think we're being built up, I think.
Yeah, yes, exactly. When it comes to the stuff that we cover on the show, you always need to have your like expectations subterranean. Okay?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm kind of enjoying, devil's advocating things too. So,
yeah, normally I have to
trying
do that, and then Maya boots me off the show. Okay.
It's like, no, seriously, he's a pedantic motherfucker.
I'm not pedantic, Maya. I'm just very careful about all. No. Let me be precise about this. I'm not pedantic, Maya.
Oh, is he
okay,
gonna make me do this? All right, hey ladies, how are you? He kind of was, yeah.
I wasn't
Hey,
there.
look, a play button. What does that do?
Death is not the destruction of the self.
You don't know?
I don't, because it's
but
not being
simply a
played.
shift in its state. The body may decay, but the awareness that animates it continues. This idea is not.
And for that, we have to thank the Queen Goddess Maya, who by her light, all consciousness is sustained.
Yes,
Yeah,
I have heard this of the patron saint of woke bitches.
Only found in ancient spiritual traditions, but is also supported by groundbreaking scientific research.
And as a scientist, that's what I'm telling you about the Maya worship, okay? Groundbreaking scientific research.
I think it's
In the
actually
20th
true though, because he said research, not research. It's like that kid from Magic School Bus. According to my research. I mean, it's more true than
Sounds smarter, huh?
Yeah.
What was her name?
Century, a Russian scientist named Konstantin Korotkov developed a technique known as bioelectrography, which captures what appears to be an energy field leaving the body at the moment of death. According to his studies, the energy does not simply vanish. It disperses, changing form rather than disappearing entirely.
Ooh.
Morphed into a different form.
Wait, who is that again? I missed that.
Konstantin Korotkov.
Yeah, I think I missed this when I was, and in fairness, I never look at videos that I quote unquote watch. Um,
Yeah, we're extremely professional in
well, I mean,
podcasting.
no. Like I'm listening to things because I have severe ADHD. So
Same.
usually the videos aren't necessary.
Yeah. Actually, this video is causing my ADHD to go haywire. I need the stress boob out.
Oh, cool. Do you have the stress? Oh, yeah, stress boob.
Yeah, I'll whip it out on your channel, Maya Sure. Here you go.
So Constantine,
Oh, you have the kazoo?
you do have the kazoo.
Where
Oh,
did that
Oh
come
no,
from?
come on! You have to serenade us.
Here you go.
It brought out the,
give
you
you a
brought
different
out the
tune there.
twerking weasel. Way to
Yeah.
go!
Yes, Andrew, there's the kazoo. It came out on my channel. Oh, I love it.
Oh my god, so funny.
All right, so Konstantin
Paraktov,
Koratov
uh,
wrote a book called "The Energy of Consciousness." I feel like I've read this. The book
Same book,
describes
must be true.
spiritual adventures with mediums, healers, and ordinary people on various continents. It is written by mountaineer, professor, and world renowned scientist who's devoted his life to the study of spiritual worlds from a scientific perspective. Science, information, and spirit. This is a reoccurring slogan of his work for many years, and also the name for annual international congresses holding. Da, 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 da. This is a book about unusual situations in the world around us and about unusual lives of apparently ordinary people. So he is a scientist. I keep hearing people saying that he does science. I'm not seeing him do science, but again, this is a preliminary look through Google.
Brilliant, insane biologist.
Well,
I
but
mean,
he
he got a degree. He totally, read a lot of books and passed a lot of
Oh, he
tests.
must know what he's talking about then.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, I wish.
Korotkov developed a technique known as bioelectrography, which captures what appears to be an energy field leaving the body at the moment of death.
These are going to be some really interesting pictures. I would that's my expectation. Is like
I mean, I just want
see
to go out on a limb and say that if he found like evidence of life after death, that like we wouldn't have to wonder about it. Like it would just be everywhere and we wouldn't be able to get anyone to shut up about it.
Well,
Yeah,
so
but
neither of you have seen this video in its entirety then? You're
Yeah.
watching the same
Yeah.
as the rest of us? Okay.
It's just like I'm sorry, go ahead.
I also I actually I have seen this part and there's not gonna be what. Well, now I ruined it.
Well, I mean, it's not
Spoilers.
that. I was just like, wait
Right,
a minute.
we're
There's a
there.
science. They're saying a scientist did a thing, and I'm like, I don't know. It didn't. When I was listening to it again earlier, like it didn't like pop up in my mind that I needed because normally stuff like this I would look into. But I'm just like on the face of it, it
Yeah, no,
just seems like this would be huge news that would have popped up in we
they
wouldn't have to wonder about it.
Maya, they don't want you to know.
Of course, of
well
course.
then it wouldn't be on YouTube.
But they come up with excuses to why it's not real, kind of like aliens. We probably have so much proof for aliens.
Well, okay, yeah, but hold on,
Don't
hold on.
want you to know, so they cover it up.
The answer is factually and actually always aliens.
I mean, this is true. And you know that because every time they say that, there's a picture of Nikola Tesla.
Ah.
Hail
So you
I
know
thought
it's
there was
true.
a picture of that Giorgio guy.
Yeah, Giorgio Tsoukalos.
Believe it or not, people don't always trust his opinion.
Oh, imagine that.
They do almost always trust Tesla's opinion.
Yeah, no,
Even fake opinions that he didn't actually have.
Yeah, and they will fight you if you doubt him.
Yeah, like he said some weird stuff, but he didn't actually believe in like the psychic magical powers of 3, 6, and 9. Like that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
According
That's
to
on
his
the
studies,
notion
the
that
energy does not simply
Wait, what were you
vanish.
saying? Well,
It
no, no, that
Sorry.
I was just added. That's on the notion that one person can possibly know everything, and that's
I
impossible.
mean, they can, but that person's name is Queen Goddess Maya.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong
So
there.
so yeah, Doc Dino for $5 says, a couple of minutes behind, but tap. What if mainstream scientists are scared to challenge the paradigm? Surely they don't want to jeopardize future research.
I mean, I am unaware of any mainstream scientists that would not love to overthrow the paradigm. It's just
Mm.
that mainstream scientists understand what that actually entails. Like, in order to, if you're gonna like overthrow quantum mechanics, if you're gonna overthrow general relativity, you best come correct. And they aren't able to do that because whenever we test them, they work out. It's really annoying, actually.
So, I mean, it's really interesting. And I love that he brings this up because there's all this stuff about, oh, they don't want you to know. Um, Usually from people who say, I tried to tell scientists and they, rejected my research,
All the
It's
air
time.
quotes.
incoherent. Because it's incoherent. It's not actually research. It's nothing. It's
Yeah. If you bring actual evidence to the party, they can't refute it. Like they have no,
yes.
I mean, do you think that I mean,
Yep.
right now we revere Einstein so much, but like when he first like tried to like overthrow all of Newton's laws, it was just like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. He was like people listened and read what he did, partially because the man did have a PhD in physics. Like he was not an outsider. Einstein was not an outsider. Yes, he was working at a patent office, but yeah, it was. People were very skeptical. They were like, that doesn't seem right. But
yeah, I mean, but yeah,
it was.
eventually all of them read it and nobody, I mean, their whole job is to poke holes and to like find, why we shouldn't have to do an overhaul of science.
Yeah.
And they couldn't, and it's not, I don't think people, well, no, clearly people, I think, so when you're in elementary school and high school, you're taught about what the science is. You don't really get a history of any field until you're at the collegiate level.
Hmm.
Um, it you and you don't. It's not like normal to understand. Like I didn't know that a steady state was before the Big Bang until I was like in my 30s. Like it, and then
Yeah.
that, they just it's not common knowledge. It's not what they teach you. Um, and so I don't think
Yeah.
people understand that we have evolved scientific thinking, that things aren't today the way they always been, or what the process is for changing the scientific consensus. It's not crazy, it's not outlandish. You just have to show your work. And but
It's
because
changed in.
people want
Oh, okay.
their crazy ass machinations to be the scientific consensus, and science is like, you didn't do science to come to this conclusion, we are not going to entertain it. They Because they don't know what information
What?
they should have brought with them, it's just like, oh, they didn't want to believe me.
Well,
Yeah.
but what's your thoughts on like the existence of an industry built around old science that needs to change and how that might influence the new science like progressing?
Can you be more specific?
Um, Maybe I just think about this a lot. Like, if we've built, you know, capital, GDP coming in because of an industry, but then, it should change because we do know more things, but whatever we learned would effectively like, take away jobs or GDP. Would we, have a problem implementing the progress that would actually help if it affects the bottom line
I think
of money?
a country might try to suppress it, but
Yeah.
the field, I don't think would. To try to get that suppressed on a global scale, I think would be difficult. To try to suppress the information at all. Um,
Like
I mean,
electric
we've
cars. You know what I mean? Like stuff that could have
sure. I mean,
happened a
that's
while
not.
ago, but
I mean, yes and no. I mean, like when I think about things like this, I think about like maybe the heliocentric model. Um, was it Copernicus? Wasn't the first one to like actually?
uh-oh.
Oh, uh oh.
When
I
was
need
that?
him to come
I'm
back.
sorry. I didn't mean to be that
I know
antagonistic.
he was just like, "F this shit, I'm out." Like, my internet is struggle busing. All
Yeah.
right, he's trying to come back. But like with stuff like that, I mean, when you look throughout time, it's like, okay, we did know that, this person, that person. There were other scientists who said things, and the information was there. But yeah, the Pope was suppressing it because, um, the Earth must be the center of the universe. Like that was the dogma of the time.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know. So I mean, I can see it like I don't know. Information has a way of coming out, and it's rare that one person anymore is even working on a thing.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, for sure.
or even has one person would even have the data on the thing. I think that it would be easier now than the dark ages to say, "Hey, you in this other country, can you continue the work because we elected an orange idiot that won't let this information come out."
Yeah.
Aw, there's that.
So my internet had a seizure for the last minute and a half.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I only heard the beginning of your question about businesses doing old science. I will say that the businesses, the industries that make the most money today, do it on the back of modern science. So, like
Oh, I guess
semiconductors.
the example I thought of was like the
Oh,
electric
okay.
car. The idea that that could have potentially come out a lot sooner, but because the
Mhm.
industry for guzzlers existed, it was
It
suppressed.
was cheaper. Well, because it was cheaper until recently to do it that way. It just was. Um, Battery technology had to improve
Yeah, still does.
substantially, and
True.
it still does.
Yeah.
The batteries are the by far the most expensive and economically difficult part. There's a lot of like rare earth minerals that
Yeah.
are hard to source. Like you got to get them from some places that I mean, like China has control of a lot of these things, and that is makes it economically and occasionally politically difficult. Um, get like oil literally leaked out of the ground in some places
Mhm.
until the last several decades where we've pretty much sucked it out of all those spots.
Yeah.
but but I mean the technology that is required to build a gasoline engine was figured out in a robust, sustainable manner 100 years ago, over 100 years ago. Um, and the physics was figured out before that. The physics of electric car batteries is less than it is much younger than that,
Sure.
and it's still evolving. Um, and yeah, but now things are sort of changing and whatnot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I've already had to replace the battery on my EV. It's actually kind of crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
how
Jeez.
old is it?
Uh, 2 years now I've had it. Yeah. For some reason, I had
Wow,
to change the
Whoa.
motor. It was crazy.
Holy
that's
shit.
not good.
It's
Yeah,
under
No.
warranty though.
yeah, that's good.
I just
So
gotta say, as a non-Tesla owner or any of the like, Elon Musk taking over like he is. I'm kind of terrified.
fuck that guy,
I mean, we were just
dude.
able now to use EV chargers that are Tesla, not as non-Tesla owners. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'm a little worried about where that's headed. Yeah, potatoes.
Yeah, and the answer to that is not enough current. Like you can't You can't actually like starting a car battery. No, starting a car engine from the battery. There's a reason it's a big, heavy lunk of lead and acid. It's because it needs to pump out like 5 amps of current on demand, and a AA battery just cannot remotely do that. It's not possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And like, you can do it with healthier technology, but it costs 10 times more.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dr. Dino says,
Start out that way. Yeah.
Dr. Dino says, speaking for his own field, if creationists could actually show me a rabbit from the Cambrian, I would lose my fucking mind in the best way possible. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
Like, if there were a Nobel Prize in either geology or paleontology, you would win it, right? Like, if you...
Yeah.
And you might still win it in physics, somehow.
Disperses, changing form rather than disappearing entirely. Could this be the scientific proof of the soul's departure? Then there's the double slit experiment.
I hate you.
One of the most famous and mysterious experiments in quantum mechanics. It demonstrated that the act of observation itself affects reality on a fundamental level.
That's not as weird as people sometimes act like it is. When you do a measurement on something, you necessarily have to interact with it, and if you're interacting with something, you're going to affect it somehow. Right? Like if you close your eyes and you like check to see which path a ball is like rolling down, maybe you hold your hand over it and it brushes past lightly and you can feel it. Or maybe you can just hold it up and you can just feel the vibrations. In either case, those are physical things which are slightly, changing the ball. With quantum mechanics, it becomes a lot more like binary, like either kind of have enough to interact with it or you don't, but the logic is exactly the same. The fact that looking at something changes what it does is only surprising when we think about big stuff. When we watch a car go down the street, us looking at it doesn't seem to affect it much. But a car is much, 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 much bigger than a single electron. I hope.
So us looking at it does change it, and that makes sense because you're saying like the heat off of our hand or something like over a smaller object would affect it, and so it's kind of same thing. It's just on like such a small scale. Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, when it talks about an observer, it's not like
it's not a conscious being,
right? Because that's what they try to like.
This took physicists a while to figure out. There were physicists that spoke, in retrospect, very sillily and cringily about this topic. There was God. It might have. I don't know who it was. It might have been Wheeler. I can't remember who it was. But at big conferences, they were talking about how. Yeah, a dog probably is conscious enough to collapse the wave function, but a spider isn't. That's not how this works. What happens is that you interact with it enough, and it turns out that your entire laboratory, whether or not there's a person in it, will become part of the same quantum system, and that is what the collapse of the wave function is. And there isn't a simple way of delineating when that transition takes place. But at least without a lot more information than you generally have. But that is the question about what when this happens and the extent to which I'm going to let him
suggesting that consciousness is not just an observer of the universe, but an integral part of how reality functions. If this is true, then consciousness cannot be an accident of biology. It is something deeper, something embedded within the very fabric of existence. But the most mind-blowing revelation? Some scientists suggest that consciousness might be a fundamental force, just like gravity or electromagnetism.
What's wrong with that? What,
Yeah.
isn't life a force?
He said magnets.
Oh, you see. Does something happen?
Electromagnetism is not magnetism, Maya. Okay, I'm
I didn't say it
very
was.
good.
I didn't say it was.
You said he said magnets.
He did say
okay?
magnets.
He didn't say magnets.
I
He
heard
said
magnet.
electromagnetism. Well,
heard
that's
magnet.
and you're wrong.
No, it's right there. Magnet. I can circle it.
Yeah, well, you added an S, and there is an I between the S here. Okay, I am pedantic, Maya.
Oh God. And I am petty. Ladies, how are you doing?
Doing good.
The good doctor is upsetting me, so he's going to sit in the corner for a while, and I
We're
am
gonna
going
punish
to. Who did
him.
I see? Yeah, we're going to punish him. And in the meantime, because Stephen Walsh came in here and dropped off half of his check, I'm going to again acknowledge his presence. Those fireworks in my life. How do you do that?
The show where Stephen Walsh made it rain. That was a good show.
That was a good show. Thanks again, buddy. All right. Let's get on with this. Oh, wait a minute. Well, since Vandy's gone, the girls will play.
Yay.
Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. This one. All right. For $2, DC Dano says, Nancy, from one veteran to another, go Navy.
We're both just not ready to be Marines yet, right?
Yeah.
No one get a hooah?
Hoo-yah in the Navy. But
Hoo-yah? Okay.
hoo-ah
All right.
in the Army, yes.
Yeah, no, my ex-husband was Navy, and yeah, part of his job was transporting Marines to and from the war. He served from 98 to 2008 or 2006.
Okay.
Yeah, and oh my God, he hates Marines. He's what was it? Marines, my ass rides in Navy.
They're the shoot people, ask questions later people.
Yeah, no, some acronym he had for them. It's just like they don't do shit. They just lay around and eat, and
Really? I've heard that about the Navy. Just kidding, DC. Just kidding.
Oh no.
That's Air Force. No. No.
All right, are you back to press the like button?
Oh, you married a seaman. Oh.
Maya, I literally never press the like button.
Oh, the like button.
Either the channel that we cover.
Hey,
or
everybody!
on your
Would
show.
you hit the thumbs up? Wait, where am I at? Hit the thumbs up! Yeah. Thumbs up, everybody! Thumbs up! Hit the like button. It's literally the least you can do to support the stream. But for everybody who's financially supported the stream, thank you. We appreciate you.
Always helpful.
Always helpful.
Yeah.
I'm on strike, Maya.
Press the play button, goddammit.
Increase.
Yeah.
Like
the play button, though.
That's going to be the front.
I have a union.
You have one job.
And I'm striking.
God damn it. All right. So
come on now.
Apparently Tab's getting booted and I'm going to have to do everything. God.
We got this, Maya.
A team of 3 women? Yeah, of course we got this. We don't need weasels.
Yeah. Weasley.
In that human awareness is not confined to the skull.
Okay, so to be pedantic, nobody thought it was confined to the skull. We thought it was confined to the brain. Just
saying.
It extends outward, interacting with the world in ways we don't fully understand.
I use my hands mostly.
If consciousness is a force, then death could be nothing more than the process of returning to a larger energetic field.
How do we get to consciousness being a force?
Because they said it was energy earlier. And
right.
That energy as I totally said the opposite of earlier, are the same thing.
I do remember you saying that.
Yeah, because they're not though. Okay, they are not. How hard I push on something and how far like how much energy it gains when I push it are two different things. They are related.
They are.
They are not the same.
Not yeah. Holy shit. Okay, but we're gonna go with that. That they're the same thing, and he's gonna keep saying that. Okay, okay. I got my one right here.
Just goes back to the Matrix. That's what he's saying, right?
Cheers, Maya. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's going to say something.
I mean, yes.
A reality that is greater than what we perceive in the physical world. And this isn't just theoretical. Studies have been conducted where people in near-death states report encountering a reality beyond this one, a realm of pure energy, free from the limitations of the body.
Oh, okay.
Sounds pretty cool.
I guess since we're making leaps, consciousness is energy, and energy is a force, and the force has to go to a spiritual realm that can contain it.
Well, my issue is what's the difference between that realm and this realm? Because he seems to think everything is already pure energy.
How pure?
Like I said, mass basically frozen energy. Like if you want to be like mass and energy,
Chair
same
is
thing.
energy, therefore brain, consciousness, and
yeah, but
heaven.
I've heard if the chair is on fire. Actually,
well, it's just transforming into different energy because
that's what energy does.
Yeah.
That it does.
They describe a sense of expansion, as if they are dissolving into something far greater, yet still retaining their individuality.
So, how many of y'all have ever done DMT?
No.
Sadly, no. Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
I'll just say
I have, and the sense of dissolving into stuff, definitely a thing, okay? And it literally is the same chemical that is often produced when your brain undergoes crazy stuff like that. Like in dreams, small amounts of DMT. NDEs, probably more than small amounts of DMT.
Slayer has multiple times.
Don't they call DMT the God molecule because of that? Okay, all right. That was from the woo side of things. No, I'm pretty sure it's called the God molecule.
Okay, so there was a physicist who won a Nobel Prize. I met him, Liam Lederman, who wrote a book called The God Particle. So, unfortunately, physicists are not able to stand on that soapbox because one of us did the same damn thing. He was just trying to sell books, though, and he did. He sold a lot of books, and we're all a little bit pissed off at him for it.
I love how much Mark's been paying attention to American politics.
Wah, wah, wah.
Moving on.
Yes, not wrong.
Yeah.
All veterans are getting
This would explain why some people who return from NDEs report heightened abilities, such as increased intuition, unexplainable knowledge, or even an aversion to electricity as if their own energy...
That doesn't seem unexplainable. That seems very straightforward. If you go and try to perform coitus as a man with an electrical socket, okay, like the result of that is probably going to be a deeply ingrained instinct to not do that again.
Deeply ingrained.
Something.
If I sounded like I spoke from experience,
do tell?
Weasels are a proud people, okay, and I'm not going to address it any further.
Keep saying that.
Field has been altered. But what if death isn't just a transition? What if it's an exit? What if the reality we exist in is not the ultimate one, but merely a holographic projection of something larger?
Oh, wow.
Like a fractal?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Like a holographic universe.
Oh God, this is one of the
Hey,
Like
most.
Doc,
like
you're a
a Mandelbrot
physicist.
zoom?
You must know all about the holographic universe.
The holographic universe is like just the observation that all of the energy in a 3D volume can be encoded on its surface. It's like a specific, well defined mathematical thing, and it doesn't mean all of this nonsense. It
No, it means
doesn't.
the universe is definitely a sphere and a light is shining on it.
Spheroid.
And everything we see is fake. And which also proves the Mandela effect.
I will
Uh,
quit the show,
we
Maya.
have
I
been
will.
through this many other shows.
I will
Many other
leave.
shows. This is not the first time you were hearing this. But he is reiterating it, which makes it true.
What happens after we die may be found not just in energy, but in the nature of reality itself.
Oh, yes.
Can we pull the
I
chat?
like this one. What?
What are we
My
pulling?
can you pull the chat? Are we living in a simulation? I want to know what the chat
Oh,
thinks.
that's a
Right?
good question.
Isn't it that even like
Do we
theoretical
want to
physicists or
include? I
whoever
don't
think this
know.
is true?
Some physicists do think this is true. The
Or like
simulation,
a
but
Neil
the
Bostrom? Is that the
uh,
name? Nick Bostrom?
Neil deGrasse Tyson,
No, I mixed it up. Yeah, it's Nick. Nick Bonstrom or something like that was the
Neil deGrasse Tyson, man, somehow got me to miss that. But no, I don't think he thinks that. Oh, there might be somebody else that you were referring to because I don't
Nick.
think he
Yeah,
thinks
Nick
that.
Bostrom.
Bostrom.
I swear he was the
Yeah, maybe.
simulation theory
Like
guy.
I don't. I don't think we're in a. I don't really care, honestly. Like I haven't gotten to the point where it provides a useful perspective on the physics of the universe. So if you provide something that provides, if you have a model that requires us to be in a simulation that necessarily has certain predictions, then that would be interesting. But like if you were able to prove that space is pixelated, that wouldn't necessarily prove that we're in a simulation, even, right? So
Well, yeah, but space being a holograph has to be true for there to be a Mandela effect because it would prove that we're in a simulation that sometimes glitches and causes glitches in the matrix, and
And there's so
sometimes they have
many.
to reset,
Yeah.
which is what you would expect if you're living in a video game.
And all the video
And that,
editing to go with it. Come
yeah,
on.
yeah,
You
we're not
know?
really in base reality. There are aliens pulling the strings.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I like the alien video game thing more than pure simulation theory. Like pure simulation theory says that we're making a simulation of ourselves like in the past or something, and that part never made sense to me.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, well, then it's that's still the video game version. It's just the video game is a period piece, right? Like Red Dead Redemption, right? So
If death
did I want to answer the hold on.
What, the poll?
Yeah, I had to answer the poll.
Oh, yeah, no is winning by a
is
landslide.
simply a
Boo! I voted yes. I don't actually believe that. I just, I'm not a ride or die titty monster. So
transformation of consciousness.
That's not the
then
question, Doctor.
I know, but
exactly are we transforming into? The answer might lie in a concept that both ancient wisdom and modern science have pointed to for years. The
exercise is healthy.
idea that this reality isn't as real as we think it is. In fact, some of the most cutting-edge research suggests that what we experience as life is nothing more than a holographic projection.
There is no, okay, explaining life as being a holographic projection is not a thing. That is not a thing. Explaining the entire universe as being a holographic projection, like kind of maybe sort of could be a thing by some people. No, but if you're gonna just say life, no, that's wrong and dumb.
It's not like a holographic projection in our own brain, like how our brain creates stuff out of all of our sensory inputs.
That your experience, if that wouldn't be holographic, that would just be like your brain doing brain things. Um, Holographic specifically means a hologram is like a thing where you have like three-dimensional information encoded on a two-dimensional surface. That is the core idea behind holography. Like that little weird eagle thing on the back of your credit card that like looks three-dimensional. That thing is a hologram. Like it's a two-dimensional thing, but like it has 3D information encoded on it.
Simulation of sorts, designed to keep us tethered to a limited perception of existence. If that's true, then death isn't just an ending, it's an exit. This concept is not just spiritual philosophy, it's being seriously studied by quantum physicists and even within declassified government research.
At least they admit it's spiritual.
I don't know that I have anything new to add to what I've already said.
The idea of a holographic universe comes from findings that suggest our reality operates in a way eerily similar to a computer-generated simulation. Scientists like Dr.
That's not where it comes from. Where it comes from is noticing some mathematical facts about how information is encoded on a boundary versus in a bulk, and that you can do basically like an isomorphism between the two. Okay, also he's about to say scientist Dr. David Bohm and then physicist somebody else. David Bohm was a physicist, okay? So I don't know why he's saying that one of them was a scientist and then specifying the other one. Sorry.
Similar to a computer-generated simulation. Scientists like Dr. David Bohm and physicist Gerard Hooft,
both physicists,
have proposed that the entire universe might be a projection from a deeper level of reality, just as a hologram is a 3D illusion projected from a two-dimensional source. If true, this would mean that our physical world is not fundamental, but secondary, a construct within a larger system of existence.
What does that mean?
I was just about to ask you that.
I don't know, but the words kind of feel right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the way they should the way they
semi-believe it, and then
to me the way that they feel right and are right are not like interesting in a physics way. They're just interesting in like a normal, the way humans interact with the world way. Like when we interact with the world, we're not evaluating, this part of my body is experiencing this amount of force from this charge density over here, and then it is also experiencing this amount of tugging from this adjacent patch of skin. Well, we're being like, it's like, man, I'm kind of fucking hungry right now. Like, damn. And that, like, that is a whole thing that we're constructing, and we're always like building the world that we experience sort of around us, or our brain is, or whatever, you know? But, like, you can't build a physical model out of what he's saying, and he's trying to imply that you can. And that's, like, my issue with it.
Miss Slayer was asking how many views this slop has.
It has 3,000.
Oh, gee. And that's in 6 days.
In 6 days, yeah.
Okay.
That's in 6 days.
What other kind of stuff does this channel post besides this? Law of Insights? I suppose I can look it up later.
I found it here. So we got secret Egyptian papyrus, shows in detail what happens.
Like the papyrus that has like all the porn actions going on?
What happens? Yeah. So this one is also about what happens after death. This one is about escaping the Matrix, but all of them are, look at the end of the title, all of them certified no BS.
Oh, okay. But it's all about afterlife type of stuff, huh?
Well,
They
this
just
one,
wanted you to know that it wasn't BS because they assumed you would think it was.
we've died unlimited times, according to this one.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were never even born. Like, of all of the things I'm confident about, you know. But
Well, that's that idea that like the world started yesterday and you just got all your memories implanted, right?
Oh shit.
yeah. Oh, I was never alive. It's deep content over here.
It
Deep
is.
content.
Glad I grabbed a bottle of wine for this.
Right.
I mean, yeah. There's just so many different directions you can take this too. That's what's like my ADHD brain is going haywire right now.
This is why I drank.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, no, well, I did warn you to bring your own bottle.
Yeah, I got a bottle. Yep. No, it's good. It's very interesting. I mean, we really could pick this apart, every little bit of it.
And what happens when you leave a simulation? You return to the true source of reality.
I was always in the true source of reality. When I play a video game, do you guys like actually go into the video game? Like actually? No, you do it metaphorically and like mentally.
Well,
Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
you put a VR over your head and then, it appears as if you're really in the game.
Not to the people outside looking at you doing silly stuff like going,
Well, that's because you're not a true solipsist.
no, Maya, I'm the only true solipsist.
Fair enough.
Death experiences, mystics, and now even physicists describe death in similar terms.
We don't.
As a moment of stepping out of the illusion and into a state of vast,
that's the
unlimited
illusion.
awareness. Those who have had NDEs often report that this world suddenly felt small and artificial compared to where they went, as if waking up from a dream that they had been so deeply immersed in, they forgot it wasn't real.
Where are these people they're talking about?
ICUs
Have these
mostly.
experiences.
They might be in the same place he's keeping the real CIA documents.
Yeah, they must be. We're breaking Miss Slayer's brain over here. Sorry, dear.
Is that fucking Mel Gibson?
Yes, he's in one of them.
Some even describe seeing a kind of veil, screen, or grid-like structure dissolving as they passed into another state.
A
Could this be
grid-like
the moment
structure? Is that the new NDE thing? Because I've never heard of anybody saying they pass through a grid-like structure.
They're
That
probably
sounds
just looking at
like
the ceiling.
it sounds like a woo book I read, like psychoenergetics or something. It was showing everything in like, mass in a grid-like structure. So maybe it's related.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that a lot of NDEs probably take place in people that are looking at ceilings, and a lot of ceilings have grid-like structures.
Well, yeah.
I love that.
But it's a very boring explanation,
And
as
fluorescent
most
light.
of them are.
Fluorescent light is doing something to their brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if you like VR and porn, you should read Pepper Winter's Goddess Isles series. You can create any sexual fantasy you want in VR format.
You know, most of the time when a sentence on this show starts with "if you like VR and porn," I'm the one saying it. So,
Did I outdo you?
I feel like you might be taking all my fans, and that's all I've got. I only have fans. Only fans. So,
Well, I mean,
physics is hard.
This
Yeah,
puts me in mind of wishing for the holodeck again, because I don't think anything is better for VR porn than the holodeck,
I
personally.
mean, that's maybe what it is. I'm not even done with the series yet, but that might be what it is.
More like the holodeck, am I right?
Holodeck.
They break
Oh,
free
that
from
Oh,
the holographic construct. What's even more unsettling is that there's already evidence that reality is not as solid as we perceive it to be.
What does that mean?
Studies in quantum mechanics have repeatedly shown that matter isn't really solid at all.
Yeah,
At the most fundamental level,
yeah,
everything is energy, vibrating in...
that's relativity technically, but it's
Yeah,
also
I
kind of
guess
bad,
physics doesn't dispute it, but oh god.
So really, base
Yeah.
reality is just a giant vibrator if everything's a vibrating reality?
So most physicists are probably more partial to the idea that the fundamental stuff of the universe are fields, and particles are just vibrating excitations of fields.
Okay.
And that is a sentence that all of the woo community just takes and just like puts in its basement and doesn't give it any water, and it just like until it says anything they want, and it's really unfair because all we mean is that you can express it as a simple harmonic oscillator. That's all we mean.
Well, that sure
Yeah,
explains it.
Leo agrees. It does not vibrate in and out of existence.
Yeah, no, that's a dumb, weird way of putting it. I don't. They're vibrating. Like things are like vibrant, and I use that term very loosely. Okay, like whenever you talk about a frequency, you need to ask what is vibrating, what is oscillating.
Yep, that
And
is vibrating.
Yeah,
yeah,
we gotta ask
in
that
and out
question.
of existence. The famous double-slit experiment, which we mentioned earlier, revealed that particles behave differently when observed, meaning consciousness itself plays a role in shaping...
No, it doesn't mean that. It does not mean that. It means that the observation equipment plays a role in interacting with the particle. And most of the time, when your observation equipment is built by a scientist, they're part of it. Because otherwise, they're not doing their job and they're at home or out getting Thai food.
Can one of you explain this double slit to me, please? I'm intrigued.
So the double slit experiment is like if you take a single particle and you send it through two closely spaced slits.
Okay.
Then if you project that then on a screen behind it, if you sent billiard balls through, you would expect to just see two patterns.
Right.
One for each slit. What you actually see with small enough particles is you see a wave-like pattern, a whole bunch of you see it interfere with itself as though you sent a wave through.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sent like if you had some slits in a wall that you sent a wave of water through, then you would see all of these interference phenomena.
Yeah.
And you see that if you send electrons through. Electrons have mass. But they go through and they produce this pattern as though they behaved like waves. And they still do it even if you send electrons through one at a time. And that's really weird and interesting and like counterintuitive because that doesn't really make sense with our classical ideas about an electron being like a tiny billiard ball like particle.
Okay.
A billiard ball can't go through both slits and behave like a wave and interfere with itself. But they do. But if you then put a detector down there to be like, okay, I want to check which slit is it going through. Suddenly they only go through one at a time.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And they stop behaving weird in quantum. which is the most weird in quantum thing about it. The fact that they stop behaving when you look at them is like the weirdest thing, but it's not that weird because you have to interact with it, okay?
Yeah.
Because these are not big billiard balls, they're single particles, and interacting with something means that it has to send like a photon to your eye, and if it sends a photon to your eye, that means that it had to do a thing at a particular time, and
I wonder if this is going to let me share.
No, thank you. I had just never heard that term before.
No, I found something, and it was just like scientist. What is it? Well, no, I didn't find a good one.
Oh well.
Trying to see if it'll play because you
know.
know how it hates when I try to play stuff.
Sorry, I can always look it up more later too.
You're gonna have to.
Well, no, it's a fun. It's also, but it is like a fundamental. Are you looking at the?
Yeah, it's like
Sure.
a scientist. What do you call it?
Oh,
I have
here
one
we
from
go.
Three
Okay,
Blue,
okay.
One Brown. Oh yeah,
That's good.
Nice.
I can't hear it though.
Oh, you can't hear it?
I can't hear it.
But it does have the.
It has some. Yeah, it's really loud to me. Oh, right. I have the thing where it doesn't let me. Do you want me to?
I have.
No, this one's funny. Like you're fucking up the
sorry.
funny. All right. Go ahead.
Oh, it's on TikTok. I can't do it.
No. What do you have? You want an unfunny video?
I have one from Three Blue, One Brown, which will not be funny, but it will be informative.
It's not
Three
funny.
Blue, One Brown.
People have heard of double slit interference, but have you ever thought about exactly what it is, why it has the pattern that it does, and why you don't observe it with things like white light? Right here is a nice physical demo at the Exploratorium where a laser is shot through two very thin slits and down on a wall several feet away from the slits. You don't just see two bright spots, you see many. Let's go ahead and pull up a simplified simulation to try thinking through what's happening. If the slits are thin enough, you can model each one of them as a point source. And it's important for what follows for the light coming from each one to be a pure sine wave with just a single wavelength. Think about a point on the middle of the wall behind these slits. The distance to each slit is the same, so those two waves are in phase with each other, and this gives what we call constructive interference, so you see a bright spot. But if you shift a little to the side, to a point such that the distance to one slit is exactly half a wavelength longer than the distance to the other, then the two waves actually cancel out. The peaks of one line up with the troughs of the other.
Like the normal,
That was interesting, though.
It is, but like I don't know. Like, is that like when you're talking about the double slit experiment? Is like that what, or is this like your atom shit that you do in your lab?
I mean, he's explaining the. He's explaining the sort of the basic part of how how this indicates it's a wave. The fact that it shows a whole bunch of things instead of just like two.
Well, I mean, it's two separate. I would say two separate things, but like, if she's never seen the double,
I see what you're saying.
Okay,
I see what you're saying.
Finish it.
Result is nothing, and you get a dark spot. When you think about it, this actually feels really bizarre at first, because it means when you go from having one slit to opening a second, this specific point of the wall will actually become darker, despite more total light being let through. It's weird, but it's a consequence of the fact that you're adding waves.
Okay.
Similarly, if you scan from left to right, these waves fall in and out of sync with each other, giving oscillations between bright and dark spots. But that specific pattern depends a lot on the specific wavelength of the light.
Here's the thing that is the most critical and weird about it. If you slow it down so you're sending one particle of light at a time, this still happens. Even though there's only one. One particle can't go through one slit and behave like a wave and then produce this pattern if it's only going through one slit. It has to go through both, and it has to interfere with itself.
So yeah, with the double split experiment, just because I like this because I know that most of the people in the chat already know, but with the original experiment, let me get this off. It was here. Hi. You have like you have one laser like ostensibly shooting one particle at through, and there's two slits. Well, in the original experiment, you get to other experiments where there's more, and then you get or one, and you get different patterns, even though it's just one thing. So you would expect, it to hit the same place, but it doesn't. And when I was trying to figure it out, it was so weird because like what they were saying is when you close your eyes, we see different things than when you're looking at it. So that's how you get this observer effect.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, what does that mean when you close your eyes? Like,
It means you
obviously it
stop
doesn't.
interacting
Shut
with
the
it.
fuck up. I'm talking.
It means you stop
Obviously,
interacting with it.
when
Is that
so
something
it's his field, but like
for your knowledge, Maya?
again, he's talking like a physicist who's been doing this for like the last 13 years.
Yep.
You're asking what is the double slit experiment? Like
Yeah.
you need you're asking for like a baseline thing. And me as somebody who like barely understands it, like I know what you're asking. And so that's why I keep telling him, I'm like, you're jumping ahead. And when you're talking to people, when you're trying to explain, like, whether it's you or the people that are watching this, later, because he doesn't see this, but I see the analytics. There are people who watch our shows, like,
need the basics.
Yeah,
not the
people that are
professional.
watching shows that we did like 6 months ago, a year ago, and I just want to make sure that everybody is on the same page because I know most of our audience does understand this, but a lot of us don't, and also for anybody watching the show later, a lot of them don't. Right now, my frustration is for those people who he's talking way over their head. And
It's all good.
it's
I've
really
heard of
fucking
it, but I need to
annoying
do the
because,
basics, and then I can research it further later on.
but I mean,
Oh.
it is literally what we're supposed to be here for. Like, I mean, if you're going to talk about something, like, I don't, I could use a lot of terms differently too, but I don't want to assume that anybody like knows or has read everything that I know or have read. Like I have a goddamn master's degree in psychology. If I just started doing like a bunch of jargon, like nobody here would know what the fuck I'm talking about because it's not their forte.
But we can all look it up, though. Yeah.
You could, but like, what's the point? What's the point of coming here if every time I say something you have to look it up?
True.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you
that's all
for
I'm saying.
it.
All right, we'll just.
Oh, good. I'm not the only one who hasn't heard of it. Okay.
Now think about that for a moment. If our consciousness actively participates in creating this reality, then what happens when we are no longer bound to the body? Could we regain full control over the nature of existence? Could we re-enter a state where reality is no longer limited, where time, space, and even identity function in ways completely beyond human comprehension?
Okay,
some of the most
so
ancient spirits.
So for this guy, God, I don't like when they do this. It's oh God, I forget the fallacy, but I'm a non sequitur. So he's prefacing like all this science, and it's like, hey, this field, this thing in science, this thing in science, this thing in science.
Yeah.
Therefore, my conclusion is true, and it's a total non sequitur because, and also all of his premises are bad. And I think we've done a good job of showing how the premises are bad. So the conclusion obviously must be a non sequitur. It just the logic doesn't follow. But yeah, we can't get to spiritual worlds based on consciousness being energy and a force, and that means that you definitely will go to a spiritual realm once we can no longer detect consciousness in the body.
Unless you smoke DMT, maybe.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great, it's a great thing to bring up, and I am out of my depth there. I am not keeping up on the DMT studies, and there are a lot of people in the community that are, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's kind of. I am not convinced that what you see while on a drug is
Sorry.
Not base reality? Come on.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to say. Like, I don't want to say it's real or not real. Um, like, I had a dream last night. Was it real? I mean, yeah, we can measure that. I mean, well, maybe not for last night. You can put a thing over my head, and you can measure. You can visibly see when I'm on REM sleep. And I can tell you I was dreaming, and you would probably believe me because that's a very normal thing. So we know that like people experience things. Um,
I hope
does
dreams
that
are real.
therefore mean that they were in an alternate world? I don't know that that's a leap we can necessarily make, but it does seem to be the leap he's making.
Yep.
Oh, whoops.
Spiritual traditions have hinted at this for centuries. Hinduism describes Maya.
What?
Maya!
What?
Hey, it's me.
Describes you.
We solved it. We're gonna solve it after all, guys. It all ends with the queen goddess herself.
I mean, full circle and all. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah. What's with the bikinis in the chat? I'm curious. How far back does that go?
What?
What? What
There are
did
a
I
bunch of
miss?
bikinis there.
Are there?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, it's all good. I just saw a couple bikinis.
yeah. I don't know what that's in reference to.
The grand illusion, which must be seen through before attaining higher awareness. Gnostic texts suggest that this world is a construct built to trap consciousness in cycles of forgetfulness. Even Plato's allegory of the cave describes a world where people mistake shadows on a wall for reality, until one person breaks free and realizes that everything they thought was real was merely a projection. But here's the real question.
Love that one.
If death is simply a transition out of the simulation, then why do so many fear it? Why has humanity been
Wait, let him finish that sentence.
Oh.
conditioned to see death as a terrifying event?
Yeah, that. I don't know that we've been maybe we've been conditioned, but like we're just sad. Like there are people we went in our life that aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that depending on the culture, I mean, he's doing a little bit of reaching too. Not all cultures see it as a terrifying event.
Totally. I was gonna say even well, and why might we be terrified of it? Like, I'm pretty sure before the modern era, and even sometimes, well, more than we'd like to think about now, like when death isn't like just, going to sleep. Like there's a lot of very, very awful and traumatizing deaths. No wonder we fear it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that aspect, not the dying itself, but yeah, the way you die.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Oh, that is a different thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, I think that it's fear of the unknown too.
Mm-hmm.
People do not react well to the unknown. They act very badly, actually. We have a lot of studies on unknowns in various situations, and people really dislike it. But also, native atheist. For $10. Said a super sticker. Wait, a super sticker would have confused Maya. Just saying.
Other than the awakening that it might truly be? The answer lies in how we perceive time. Because if time itself is an illusion, then what comes after death isn't just freedom. It's the unraveling of everything we thought we knew about existence. We've been conditioned to believe that time is a straight line, a beginning
Have we?
Yeah, I was just going to question that. Like, really? Where?
I mean, we experience time as a straight line, but
Depends on what you mean by straight line and how you measure its straightness.
Hmm.
okay, I see where you're going there.
If you give a bunch of people clocks and you give them, you make them record every time that they see everything else, including when the other people are doing other stuff with their clocks, and then you try to sync all those up, you're not going to get a bunch of nice straight lines. You're going to have to squeeze things and stretch things.
Yeah. And that's with them all being like synced.
Yeah,
It's
initially, yeah,
yeah.
they start out synced, and then, but when people are moving independently, you can't your clocks desync unless they don't move. Like if you have two clocks and then they just never move with respect to each other, then like yeah, they're always gonna stay just as synced. But
Is what clocks do the same thing as time moving in a straight line?
Well, I mean, that's what he's
uh,
trying to explain. The
yes,
best
because
way that we have to measure time, um, and it's usually with clocks, right? Because like even when we've measured like people in space versus people on Earth, and
yeah,
yeah, it's usually done with clocks. But
I
I
don't.
to say if it's the best way, I don't know of any other way that we can
Yeah,
get a number to accurately describe or some kind of data to accurately describe what's happening with people. But it is how we do know that time doesn't work the same way, depending on where you are or how,
yeah.
in other environments, other places in space, so on and so forth.
Because if what clocks measure isn't time, then what is time, and also what is the thing that clocks are measuring? Because clocks never move with respect to themselves. A clock internally is always just doing its own thing. It's when you move them compared to each other.
A middle and an end. We measure our lives in minutes, hours, and years, counting down the moments as if we are moving toward a final destination. But what if time itself is an illusion? What if the linear progression we experience in life is nothing more than a construct, a function of this simulated reality?
Okay, so
Oh shit.
he was so close, and then
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Sorry.
it was just yeah, it was just like oh my god, like he's right there, and then he swung and missed.
Mhm.
It's a little man in a big boat.
Exactly. What are all these calls for bingo? A lot of calls for bingo, you guys.
Mm.
That's the thing.
That's the case.
Yep. Yeah, we got the bingo in the well, we had it.
Then what happens to time when we die? Near-death experiences suggest something truly mind-bending. The afterlife exists outside of time as we know it. People who have been
He just didn't demonstrate that. Like that's not what he. Oh, sorry.
Also, like the afterlife is mind bending, in the same way that like when you bend a stick and bend it and then it breaks, and it's no longer the same stick it was. It's done. That's mind bending, or breaking, or just the stick dying.
clinically dead and revived don't just report seeing a bright light or feeling a sense of peace. They describe something far stranger. Many claim that in the moment of death, they experience past, present, and future simultaneously. Events from their lives weren't remembered like a movie reel. They were relived, not
That's
just
kind
from
of
their
shit
own.
you get from movies.
This is like there is a reason that like having your life flash before your eyes in like a really intense, crazy thing, like is a thing that a lot of people report.
Yeah.
I don't like my dad had an experience that he described like this when he was climbing and he fell and he fell 40 feet before the rope caught him. And he described his life flashing before his eyes, but he did not describe it as reliving it. So
I mean, it's a phrase too. Yeah.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
Perspective, but from the viewpoint of everyone involved. They could feel the emotions they had caused in others, experiencing the ripple effect of their actions across time. This isn't just anecdotal storytelling. Some of these individuals returned
I feel like it is, though.
with knowledge they could not have possibly known, events that had not yet occurred
Like
but later
what?
unfolded.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not convinced this
Are they
ever
going to give
happened.
examples of that shit?
Whenever they give examples, they're always anecdotal. They always
Right.
say, "Oh, there was this story of a person who had a surgery, and they reported the serial number of the thing above the thing." And it's like you have one or two of those that are tenuously. I don't believe it.
Is more questions. That's what they're doing. Oh, this is
exactly as
You're
they
only halfway
described.
through the video.
Oh, we're not.
Oh,
getting
no,
to
no,
the
no.
end of it.
Yeah, no.
Others recounted information.
I mean, we'll probably. I mean, we have. God, we still have another 5 minutes until the end of this section.
About long deceased
Yeah, we'll probably go
relatives.
for another like 4 minutes and then start wrapping up.
No, it's
Yeah.
a big clock. measuring
Conversations that
contest.
took
Yeah, good
place
call.
while they were clinically dead, and even things happening in separate locations that were later verified.
Okay, well,
If time
You best
Yeah.
bring receipts.
yeah, I mean, they're saying like clinically dead, like they weren't actually alive though. So, sorry, what were you saying?
No. What are they considered to be clinically dead these days?
Probably your heart not beating. And
Yeah.
not
Your heart
breathing.
not beating, but your no brain activity as well, correct?
Well,
You normally don't have that information when you declare death, though. Right? Like, normally when you call time of death, you don't have them hooked up to something that is measuring brain
I want to say
activity.
90% of
Well, that's
deaths are cardiac, and then
Yeah.
10% are like them, like, yeah, are measuring brainwave activities, but that would be like pulling someone off life support.
Yeah, exactly.
Most people are called DOE when they can't detect heart activity.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to clarify
like-
if that's changed.
So what he's talking about, who the fuck knows?
Also, like,
Exactly.
if you've ever undergone open heart surgery, like, your heart isn't beating while it's being
Yeah.
operated on, generally.
And so, yeah, he could be. Again, I mean, to give him grace, you know, and I'm not going to fight Dr. Tapp on that. Yeah, he could just be talking about those people. But again, who the fuck knows? He's like, well, people are clinically dead. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a near-death experience. Near death. They were actually alive.
time is truly linear, how could this be possible? The answer lies in quantum physics.
No, it doesn't.
Scientists studying the
It doesn't. Oh,
So glad we went there.
why?
Yes! Bring it on! It's the spirit. It's the quantum.
Oh.
nature of reality have long speculated that time is not a fixed progression, but a fluid dimension that our consciousness navigates in a limited way.
Doesn't even have
Some
anything to do with
physicists
quantum
believe
physics.
that all moments exist simultaneously.
This isn't even.
Whoa.
This isn't even
Wait.
the domain of quantum physics.
Wait, no, he said some physicists believe that. Does that mean you learned that in doctor school?
Well, to the extent that I learned about vaguely the topic he is talking about, it wasn't in quantum mechanics, it was in relativity. Okay? And what he's actually talking about, I think, is like an A theory versus a B theory of time. These are not terms that are used in physics. Those are philosophical terms. And they refer to like if time exists as like a big block that is pre-existent and the future is already a thing, or if it's just like the reality makes it up as we go along. I genuinely I don't care that much.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
I remember looking into A and B theory of time and not like
it's not.
neither of them really clicked with.
Yeah.
And then every time I
Yeah.
ask a scientist, they're like, "No."
Well, yeah. No.
Like,
Exactly.
every single one.
Exactly. We're,
And again,
all of us. They're like,
anecdotal, but
yeah. No. Like people have asked me. They're like, oh, you're a physicist. Do you subscribe to an A theory or a B theory of time? And I'm like, I can't remember which one is which, and those aren't things that physicists talk about. Those are philosophical terms, and neither of them maps on very well. One of them seems to map on a little bit better, but not perfectly. Like
right.
you give us the criteria, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. I don't even know what that means though.
Right.
And that's yeah.
Yeah.
Past, present, and future happening at once, but our physical brains can only perceive them sequentially.
Too many fingers.
This idea
Said
Yeah.
no one ever.
Oh no.
Well, I have heard that. Never mind.
aligns eerily
Wait,
well
what?
Have you
with
know?
what NDE
You don't want me to go down that road, Maya.
survivors report. The
Oh,
moment of
well,
death
we're
is
we're
a-
at our 15-minute mark, so you may as well just like jack off and
Maya, you don't want me to go down that road, okay? Like,
I believe he's trying to.
wait,
We're
look,
waiting.
finish
hands
this
in the
off.
air.
Hand check.
Hand check.
I haven't said
Oh,
that since I was 15.
Oh, Gracie
Well, I'm
says the
convinced.
weasel doesn't believe it because he's a heathen lost in weasel sins.
Oh.
That sounds right.
We are a proud people.
Who's convinced here? Who's convinced? Oh,
Ha. I fucking love that boob
I'll get you one,
stress
Maya.
ball. Oh my god.
The bucket
I'm like,
is
where
local
is that
porn
sex
shop.
store? I'm gonna I need to like order it online or something.
They're kind of addictive. I
Cool as shit. Just no, they probably would frown on me using that at work, but
Well, yeah, you work in HR. I would imagine, but
Just turn the
But
nipple
there.
into your palm. They'll never know.
it's just a ball.
See?
it's balls.
Dr. Tapp has it worked out. He didn't even need to buy anything. Just squeeze the one you already got.
What are you
I work
doing?
with what I have.
And then the other.
I'm groping
What?
myself. That's what I'm doing.
I
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put
I
this
heard-
away. Holy shit.
It's effective.
That is the goal. That is the goal.
Yes, indeed. It has been 2 hours already. Doctor,
We're
so
tired and
apparently,
drunk and stoned and all kinds of things right now.
physics confirms NDEs. Would you like to give a summation of what we've all just watched?
So what we just watched was undeniable evidence that yes, in fact, aliens and simulation theory are all true, and physics really does genuinely mean that we're all going to live forever.
I like it.
Okay, yeah. I don't know any other way to sum up what we just watched.
It feels like a solid foundation to me.
It's a start. It's a start.
On that video, the solid rock, I stand.
Man, you're gonna like build a house on some highly unstable ground in the future, and I will not be held responsible. Hire a home inspector.
Yes. And thank you for explaining the double slits because, my mind was going in a sexual manner from that.
Yeah, it's not a lesbian sex position. Sorry.
Oh.
Darn it.
I didn't even think of that. God, I am getting so old.
My mind
Maya,
immediately
Maya. In the literature, the spot between the two slits is literally called the perineum. Okay, so
Oh,
For real?
it's not, but that would be hilarious if it was.
it would be right.
Like, I also realized that like I actually did have to clarify that it's not because
No, I
I
mean,
don't want
I
you to
got
go
it,
out and
but
say that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then they crossed it out and they
That
just
would be
wrote
my
paint.
fault.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, and hear me the grundle.
Ladies, all right. So we're getting to that time of the night where the who are you, where are you, and what do you have coming up? So again, the who are you is your name and what you're called in the interwebs, what you do in the interwebs. Where are you is where he was found on the socials, and then obviously what do you have coming up this week? So who are you, where are you, what do you have coming up this week?
Patty, take it away.
Okay. Who are we? We are the Apostate Sisters. I'm Patty. That's my sister. That's my sister Nancy. Did I do that
Real
backwards?
sister.
That's my sister Nancy, and we are the Apostate Sisters. We can be found on YouTube primarily. Also, our podcast is on Spotify, and we're on, let's see, Facebook, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Instagram, but those are all kind of just reprints. Let's see, what do we have coming up? We have an interview coming up with Maya in
Yay!
probably a week or two. That'll be out. Let's see what else. Oh, this week we're going to record a special episode with Aaron Raw and my 13-year-old daughter, and they are going to talk about the importance of science education in youth and also times that God fucked up. So it should be a good time.
Plain on.
Oh, Iron Raw loves talking about that.
Yeah, he's amazing. And we
Did
have
I cover the
interviews
things?
with this coming week. Jim Barrows and AJ of Raised a Human. We interviewed
Yeah.
both of them. Right at the moment, we're recording interviews, not live shows, but we do have live streams. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Very
next
well
Friday is
done.
the live stream.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Watching some cult propaganda.
Squeezy
Kind of like
nitty, squeezy nitty.
I love that Nitty is here. So yeah, I was saying that I really want to support people who've oh shit, Nitty, I'm supposed to reach out to you to schedule you to come on. Really been proud of Nitty lately. He's been reaching out to people, having conversations, and then showing what it's like having conversations with people who don't necessarily agree with our opinions, which I fucking love because we need more of that now more than ever. And I know it's hard that somebody says something that you don't like and your brain is just like, I was not prepared. But I think we need to normalize having conversations that we're uncomfortable with. And because
Normalize comfort. Yeah.
yeah, we are real. Are you okay, doctor?
I'm dying a little bit.
He put it on mute. He's good.
Quantum field bless you.
Oh God.
Darwin bless you, my child. Let me think. Oh yeah, I think that it's important to have conversations with people if you can. I'm not saying everybody. I think everybody can find somebody that like I one of the issues I'm having in the community is like a lot of people in the community seem to think that if you disagree with something they say, that you're trolling or you're coming for their throat. I'm like, not everything's a fight. You can disagree and part as friends, and
It's an opportunity to learn. Like if
yeah,
somebody disagrees with me about something, I'm like, tell me more, please.
exactly.
Draw the line at having those arguments. So like, just let's have a conversation
Yeah,
because
and if
everyone
they're
has a different life experience, and I'm
yeah.
for all of it.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of times it's
Your
just two sides
story.
of the coin. And sometimes they're wrong and there's a way to have that conversation too. It doesn't have to be you don't have to look at it as a personal attack. So yeah, I do wanna we were talking about that in Nitty's last stream. And so I just want to publicly say to him, thank you for showing those conversations that you have. So he'll go into a Panera with a sign or that says atheism is right or true or something like that. Prove
Yep.
me wrong. And then, just
Yep.
if people sit
Cool.
down and have the conversation. Or once he called into a Christian call-in show, and that was interesting. I applaud him for keeping that civil because a lot of the call-in shows that you see on the and this side of the skeptic land don't always stay civil.
Nope.
So, but nitties always are. So I definitely applaud him for being able to show how, you can have conversations with people that you disagree with and stay civil, be adults, and, the yada yada. So everybody sub to Nitty. I'm going to try to get him in before the month's out. But today, sub to the Apostate Sisters. Holy shit. Do I have
Thank you, Maya. We love
I have you
it.
on the box. But let's see, let me tab. Get here. Everybody click on the link. Sub
Yay.
if you're not already subbed.
Come see us. Come see us.
Yes, and I am.
Enchilada.
So are you guys going to continue to be live on Fridays?
Yeah, every
other.
Every other Friday you're live, and then in between those you do premieres.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And that's of the podcast. It's usually Nancy and I,
Yeah.
plus a guest sometimes.
All right. So yeah,
Excellent
that's
stuff.
where you find me every Friday. Yeah, for when whatever they happen to be doing that respective Friday.
Aw.
Those are great conversations.
Oh my God, Dr. T. Like somebody could put a camera on you and just record you, like normal everyday occurrences, and you could probably make money on a show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here watching you. I'm like, dude, you just put a camera on you. You'd make money. You're funny to watch.
I feel
Look at him.
The Dr. Truman Weasel Show.
I feel like you're commenting on the like homeless schizophrenic chic I've got.
Oh
Okay,
my God.
and like that's fair.
No, you're just funny to watch.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a compliment.
They actually do have an OnlyFans where you just watch people walk around all day. Which
Wait, you do? You have an
I don't. Okay, so I have a fictional, not real, OnlyFans with our friend Leo in the chat. It's called Physics is Hard. And we explain physics while naked and fully erect.
There's no vodka in this wine.
I was actually quite disappointed to find out that wasn't a real channel, but I mean, I think
did you guys see the clip? The Physics is
Oh.
Hard clip?
What?
Do I still have that?
God, are you gonna do this to me?
Yes.
I mean, I guess I did this to myself.
Yes.
Hold on.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have to allow the
I don't know.
See, the thing is, we need to get creative about educating people because there's just so much content that's going to like draw our little dopamine fueled brains that we have to do things like teach physics while erect. I mean, like there's kind of a metaphor there. So
might as well
In case anybody is wondering, by the way, I am emphatically single. So, there's that. These two just off in their own world, jacking each other off.
I knew what I was signing up for when the chat said bring on Leo.
Yeah, so Leo, you and I should start an OnlyFans, is what I'm saying.
Only physics?
that works.
I think we'd actually probably make, like, just teaching physics naked and erect in front of a camera. Not touching each other, just full buck ass naked. Fully stiff.
Naked.
Going over incline.
Dude, like, actually, though, that could be hilarious.
I actually think we'd probably make it.
Genuinely. Mine's literally going to, like,
help me. I don't know how I got here.
Like the old Greeks.
The door or a black hole. For fuck's sake.
MIT doesn't give their lectures in black hole thermodynamics completely naked and fully erect. We do things differently here. At Only Physics.
The world will be self-supervised.
Stimulating your mind.
I'm gonna need like upgrade to vodka because like this wine is just not hitting it.
Chris Mallard candle. Yes. Smoke-scented candle. That was amazing.
Large hard-on collider. God damn it.
So good.
Yeah, so we have fun here. We have fun here.
Yeah.
All right.
test the
Any
myth
last
if-
words or anything you would like to say for science? Anything you would like to say before we go?
No, thank you, Maya.
Leo,
This is a
I
treat
do.
to get out here.
Yes, sir.
Leo and I are going to test the myth on if you can start fire by just rubbing two sticks together, if you get my meaning.
I thought you were gonna say, can you start fire by, putting it in front of your butt and farting?
No, that is not what he said.
I think I have a video for that. Hold on.
You do?
I don't. No, I don't.
doing
Sorry.
All right.
Love you,
Well,
Maya.
all right. Next week we'll be back. Bye, everybody.
Bye. This is great. Thank you guys so much.